Welcome to another E3 related video in your sub box this week. Because I'm sure there's been quite a few of them. I know there's been in mine. Lots of news and reporting, commentaries, opinion pieces, all of that stuff. And you might be wondering, where have mine been? Mine have been over on Twitch. I've been streaming the press conferences, all 8 of them, and giving my live reactions. Sometimes on my own, sometimes friends join me on Skype and we all watch together. Dan, Brett, Seth. And it was a lot of fun, aside from the press conferences that weren't fun. But overall, I think this year at E3 has been pretty good. There's been a lot of holy shit announcements and a lot of really boring stuff. But overall, the holy shit announcements overtake the boring stuff to make a very positive E3. And I figured I would just make a commentary, where I talk about all the conferences and rate them from the absolute worst to the absolute best, in my opinion. But first, I just want to say, anyone that decided to hang out with me in my Twitch stream to watch the conferences, that decided to deal with my commentary and my reactions, talking over all of the officials and the corporate people giving announcements and talking about games, I do really much appreciate that you decided to hang out with me and spend your E3 with me on Twitch, reacting in the chat. It was fun to bounce off people, and it was a lot of fun overall, and maybe I'll do it again next year, who knows. But again, thanks to anyone that came to any of those conferences, whether it was just one of them or all of them. I very much appreciate it. So let's start talking about the conferences, huh? Now, this is my opinion. This is all going to be bias based on the type of stuff I'm interested in, the stuff I care about, and this is just going to be a rambling commentary. The audio is the main part of this, so I'd recommend putting me in another tab while you do other stuff on the web or playing a game, whatever. But if there's any video to this, it's not the important part, and this is my opinion. So if you disagree with me, feel free to disagree with me. It's totally up to you, but this is all on me, all right? So, of the 8 conferences that happened, which were Bethesda, then Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Sony, Nintendo, Square Enix, PC Gaming. So those are the 8 conferences. And I'm going to start with the absolute worst and work my way up to the best. The worst conference of all 8, the bottom of the barrel, was the PC Gaming one, presented by AMD and PC Gamer. It was the most boring, mind-numbing, unexciting event I've seen in years. At least when conferences have failed in the past, most of them have been, at least awkward and you can chuckle at them, but this was just, I almost fell asleep multiple times. If you go watch my Twitch archive of that conference, I literally almost passed out 5 or 6 times. It was just so mind-numbing, and the main problem is that, one, it was overly long. It was 2.5 hours. Didn't need to do that. Condense that, cut it in half. 2.5 hours is going to have filler. I expected filler. I didn't expect 95% of it to be filler. So the main problem with this whole thing, and actually you're going to hear this repeated for some other conferences that I talk about, is they broke the cardinal rule. Especially at a gaming event where we want to see stuff. We like interacting with media, obviously, games. So we want to see what we're going to interact with. We want to see the spectacle and maybe demos and stuff. But for the most part, for 90-95% of it, they talked. You're supposed to show, not tell. They tell and then told more and then kept talking and then kept talking and maybe showed something over here. But for the most part, they just talked. It was just, have a developer come out on the couch. Hey, what about your game? You like games? What's the history of your game? What are the mechanics of your game? Isn't it great being on the PC? Isn't PC cool? All right, see ya. Next guest. And that was most of it. And it was just mind-numbing and ridiculous. I'm not saying nothing got announced, but the announcements were so minimal, especially compared to what came before in the other conferences. The most exciting thing, in my opinion, was that Roller Coaster Tycoon spiritual successor, which was Planet Coaster. And the reason for that is because it was just a trailer. It was an announcement trailer, no gameplay or anything. But it injected some much-needed life and excitement. And oh my god, there's color and there's movement, upbeat songs. It was the one time during the entire conference where I went what? We doing stuff now? What? Are we excited? But for the most part, head was in my hand, just leaning on my desk, bored out of my fucking mind. And I'm not saying that it was unique to PC gaming, but what they had to show just did not make up for it at all. And, like, they announced the StarCraft 2, the next game in that, and an expansion to Heroes of the Storm, and cool, but I don't care. That's me, but I don't care. And I don't think most people wanted to sit through 2 hours to be told that. That could have just been in a press release. It didn't need to take up space at a show. It just didn't. And other stuff like, hey, Killer Instinct is coming to the PC, whoopity, No Man's Sky, it's coming to the PC, woo, but it's not worth having a guy sit on a couch and talk for 5 minutes to lead up to it. It's not. So PC gaming, dud, falls flat on its face. I don't even hate the talk show idea. It's not what I want. I just kind of want a guy to come up. Call me a sheeple, call me a corporate shill, but I just kind of want a guy to come on stage and tell me what's up and get off and show me the game or whatever you're announcing. But not have a guy talk and shoot the shit for 5 minutes on a couch about nothing. So that was most of the PC one. Boring, dull, mind-numbing. Wouldn't recommend it. Skip it. Dumb. Worst conference of all E3. Next, I was kind of juggling between two conferences and which was the worst one and which was the best one, and I've kind of been swapping them multiple times before I started recording this. And I think I'm set that the second worst conference, number 7, second worst, was Square Enix. Now, they had some games to show, and the games they showed are things I really care about and I was really excited for. And what they showed got me excited. Just Cause 3, holy shit, that looks incredible. It looks so good. Infinite C4, whatever developer came up with that idea, give that man a medal and a raise and all the hookers and blow that he wants, because best design decision you could possibly make. It looks like tons of fun. I cannot wait to play it. They also showed Hitman actual gameplay. It looks like Hitman. Absolution was... I liked Absolution fine, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. This looks like it's getting back to it. Although 47 looks like he aged backwards. He has Sam Fisher syndrome. The older he gets, he reverses. It gets younger. It's weird. But it looked really cool. I love the trailer. I love the gameplay they showed. It was so good. But much like PC gaming, Square Enix, for some reason, adopted the policy of talk and talk and talk and talk. And, oh, you want to see gameplay? Fine, here's something. Talk and then talk and then talk. Like with Just Cause, they showed a trailer, and the guy came on stage and discussed Just Cause for 5, 6, 7 minutes without anything behind him. Not even... If you're gonna talk... If you're enthusiastic about your game, I get you want to get stuff out there, you want to come on stage and tell us about it, fine, but have something going on behind you. Anything. Movement, not a still image. A conference I'm going to talk about later had the sin of having people talk over concept art a lot, but at least the concept art was moving around a little bit, and there were transitions, whereas it was just, here's a picture of Rico jumping away from an explosion, still frame. Let's leave that up on the screen for 7 minutes. So that was the handful of games they showed were cool enough to, like, perk me up and get me interested in the moment. But overall, that conference was just boring people talking boringly. And they had Japanese people come on the stage, and I get that. Square Enix is a Japanese company. I'm not saying English only, but if you're going to have a Japanese man come on stage, have a translator that is easy to hear, who doesn't flub, and maybe remembers to turn his mic on every time. Because the translator was really quiet. But there was one time where I think it was the director of Kingdom Hearts 3 came out on the stage, and he started talking. And all other times a Japanese man has talked during this conference of theirs, there's been the translator. The translator never showed up for the first part of the Kingdom Hearts 3 guy's talk. So all I heard was Japanese. I don't know what he was talking about, because he came out and I was like, all right, Kingdom Hearts 3 footage, let's go. We're all looking forward to it. Let's go. Here's the same trailer for Final Fantasy VII Remake that we showed you yesterday. Why? Why are you showing that? If you hadn't showed it at Sony's the other day, yeah, cool, but you did, so why? It's redundant at this point. And then he was like, all right, you guys, I know why you're here. You want to see Kingdom Hearts, yeah. Here's Kingdom Hearts, the mobile game. Why are you doing this? I guess they were trying to fuck with you and troll, but at this point, you've fucked your audience already and you've bored them to tears. Just get on with it. Remember that, that Monty Python thing with all the knights going, get on with it. That's what I was screaming so many times. And then, so the fucking mobile game thing ends, and he's like, all right, yeah, I know. Okay, you guys want to see Kingdom Hearts. So here is two white guys talking about Kingdom Hearts. And they showed a video of two white guys talking about Kingdom Hearts and without gameplay. And then he was like, all right, you guys really want to see Kingdom Hearts? Oh, hey, Roy, in the audience, how you doing, man? You were in that video. Isn't that crazy? Hey, guy, everyone say hi to Roy. Play the fucking game, play! And then they did. They showed Kingdom Hearts 3. And you know what? The gameplay wasn't anything remarkable, I think. It was just kind of him dealing with grunt enemies. But it was beautiful, and I'm pretty sure one of those guys playing chess with was Matthew Broderick. I am pretty damn sure I recognized his voice as Matthew Broderick. But it looked fine. It looked pretty. The abilities look cool. Sora's packing laser guns or whatever he did. And I was cool with that. But overall, it wasn't the best thing in the world like I was hoping. And then at the end, it was just they ended with nothing. They ended with a fall in the face. Hey, we are working with a robot. I'm convinced the last guy, was he the CEO of Square? That man's a robot. Because it was the most awkward, pause-filled. It was the worst. It was the worst presentation. To come up on stage and say, we are working on a new RPG, and it will be great. Okay, goodbye. See, I said that in 10 seconds? It took him 8 minutes. It was such... Oh, it was painful. So, also, what the fuck was up with the Nier guy? They announced a sequel to Nier, which was odd in itself, because I don't think Nier was all that well received, and no one played it. But they're making another Nier game, which is like an RPG, and they had the director come up with the most horrifying nightmare fuel mask head thing in the world. What the fuck was the point of that? I guess it's because the director he's shy and doesn't want to be in the public eye, so I can understand that. But then have somebody else from the company come up and talk instead of giving me nightmares for days. That would have been cool. Imagine if you were not paying attention to the Square Enix press conference. Imagine you turned away and then turned back at that moment. You probably had to go change your underwear. It was yeah. So Square Enix, you had a couple really cool games. I'll give you credit where credit is due. And it's nice to know Hitman and Just Cause are this year, but nuh-uh. You don't know how to structure a press conference. You do not know what momentum is. Oh, and Deus Ex also looked kind of cool, but mostly talking about it. So I don't care. All you did was show a trailer. You didn't really show gameplay. It was a gameplay trailer, but it was really quick cut and action packed, which is not how I'm going to play that game. But still, that looked cool too. But Square Enix, you don't know how to put on a press conference. You have no idea how to maintain audience attention, and you suffer for it. And that's a shame, because you do have some cool games to show. Next press conference, the third worst, number 6, is Electronic Arts. And much like Square Enix, boring. Boring. So much nothing. Look, they basically came out. They showed a trailer for Mass Effect, but they didn't show any gameplay. But it's nice to know that actually fully exists. That it has a name. What is it, Andromeda? It has a name. They're making another Mass Effect. Yay. I didn't expect them to do a gameplay demo of that. Then they showed Need for Speed. Okay, I don't like the fact that it has always online DRM. That's kind of a deal breaker for me. But what they showed looked pretty cool. So credit where credit's due. You had an all right opening. EA, you did all right. And then pulled the drag chute for so much of that. Just sports. Here's a game. Sports. Okay, so what did they show? What did they actually show? They showed the Old Republic expansion. I don't give a shit about Old Republic. Fine, great. Expansion. Good for you. Just a trailer. That game, that yarn-based, that string-based game with a little string bunny creature, Unravel, that looks nice and charming, and I felt really bad for the guy on stage. It's because he didn't do a bad job at all. He was a nervous wreck, and it was clear. When they zoomed in, he was holding a little string puppet, when they zoomed in on his hands, they were shaking like mad. His game looks cool, so good on you, man. Whatever. It's Unravel. Unravel looks cool. Then Plants vs. Zombies 2 Garden Warfare. They actually showed gameplay. Dan and I were squeeing because we love that game. Played it to death. It's a lot of fun. So I can't wait for the second one. So great. Okay. You did all right. You were holding my attention, EA. And then it was sports. It was nothing but sports. NHL, NBA, Madden, FIFA. And look, I know, I get it. EA, their biggest franchises, the ones that sell the most and are the most profitable, they're sports games. I get that. I understand that you have to talk about them. You do not have to dedicate this much time to them, because every single year you come up and boast all this new amazing shit, and then when they come out, the review scores are the same as last year. Oh, there's some improvements, some things we don't like, but it's fine. So 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. No, it's not impressive. You don't have to dedicate 10 minutes to saying, we have 3 new catches in Madden this year. They look so good. Look at how he caught that football. Wasn't that realistic? Unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. And then they had the community guy, the representative, what's his face? Hoop God came on stage for a second for them to take a picture of his face and scan it in. Why? Who the fuck is that? Why did he get stage time? I mean, the face stuff looked cool. I wish they would put it in games like Rainbow Six Vegas again. That's not EA, but I missed that feature. I wish it was in more games, but it is pointless. And the fact that a 50-year-old fat white man said, "Up your swag," with no hint of irony at all. Said it completely straight. And in NBA, you can upgrade yourself and up your swag. Because that's what the kids say these days. But that was just painful. It was boring. Hands and face, just why? And then they did mobile game stuff. Why? No one cares. Not at this conference. This EA, you have to understand something. You know the people that are watching this conference? They're fucking nerds who want video games. They're not Mr. Football guy. They're not. Not for the most part, anyway. So it's just boring. Boring as shit. Mobile game. Despicable. The minions, Despicable Me minions got their own mobile game. Great. Why does it have stage time? Does not need stage time. Pointless. And then you had Pele come on stage. Look, I don't care about sports. I'm not a sports guy. I don't care about any of them. But even I know who Pele is. I get he's a big deal. He's a legend. He's the guy you think about when you think about football. Why was he here? Having him come on stage and awkwardly talk about how great football is and the magic of football and how football is beautiful. I'm talking about, European football. Soccer. How about the soccer? Talk about how that shit is so awesome with nothing. No gameplay. Nothing. This is a games conference. Games! Why do companies seem to be forgetting that? Games! No disrespect to Pele, but leave. Get off the stage. Boo. Get off the stage. Then they just really quickly threw in Mirror's Edge and hey, we're making one. It's going to be open world. Doesn't it look pretty? Yeah, it does. Can I see some more of it? Nope. On to Madden. Let's do football. Let's not even do football. Let's do trading cards. Let's do virtual fantasy football. Oh, man. Edge of my seat. Thankfully, the stream crashed at that point for me, so I missed more of that presentation than other people, which was fantastic. And then it came back, and thankfully, they ended with Battlefront. That's what they do. Those sneaky bastards at EA, they come out on stage at the beginning, and they're like, we've got Battlefront for you, and we're going to show it later. But first, sports. But Battlefront looked amazing. I will say that. I've been kind of iffy on Battlefront, given the content that they've been talking about and the amount of it, more specifically. But what they showed, that battle, holy shit. Just showing the different vehicles. You can pilot the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, AT-AT. You can play as Darth Vader. There's a hero class from returning from Battlefront 2. It looked so good. It looked real good. I can't deny that. It looked really good. Was it worth the hour of bullshit before it? No, but it did look good. So, you ended on a high note, but just for a good majority of that conference. Yeah. If you didn't have Battlefront, you'd probably be lower on the list, but you had Battlefront, and I was okay with that. So the next conference, the middle of the road ones now. These aren't the worst now. These are the middle of the road. Number 5 of the 8 was Nintendo, and mainly that was because they didn't do anything either way. Nothing they did was special or exciting. Nothing they did was bad or awkward. It was just kind of middle of the road the entire time. No peaks, no valleys, just beep, middle of the road whole time. They had some stuff that was like, I'm glad to see another Star Fox. That's cool. It is a little weird that they kept doing all this focus on, if you use the Wii U gamepad, you can see first-person cockpit view and shoot from there, but doesn't that mean I'm missing all the exciting, cool shit that's happening on my big HD television? So I feel like I would just use the thumbsticks and not the gyro shit and just play on my HD television. But whatever. They showed some Zelda stuff. Not the Wii U one, unfortunately. I think they announced beforehand that wasn't going to be there, so I expected that. But they showed some 3DS games. A lot of focus on 3DS, which I guess makes sense. It's their big thing. It's their cash cow. Triforce, what is it called? Zelda Triforce something. I apologize. I forget. I have some notes for these conferences, but not all of them. And that looked fun. It kind of looked like a more Link Between... no, what was it called? Was it called A Link Between Worlds? A Link Between Worlds, that one. It looks like that, but with 3-player co-op and more focus on puzzle solving. Which, sure, why not? Thankfully, you can play by yourself and just control and switch between the 3 people, and that's totally fine, too. But yeah, nothing extraordinary. Hyrule Warriors coming to 3DS, still don't care. I'm not a Dynasty Warriors guy, so I have no interest. But sure, if you like that type of thing. They quickly showed trailers for Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, and what was it? Shin Megami Tensei FE, I think? FE, was it? Which was odd, because for the FE trailer, they didn't have any Japanese subtitles. Or, sorry, English subtitles, sorry. They didn't have subtitles for those. So, no idea what was going on. And then, like, fine. You know what? If you don't want to put subtitles on the trailer, it's a dumb thing, but I'll live with it. But then the fact the game title appeared on screen, all Japanese. Not a word of English in there. Can I get a subtitle? I didn't know what the game was, like, at all, until someone told me later. Which was just, They're just trailers on that front. Animal Crossing stuff. What is it? On the 3DS, you get a house builder. You get like a house designer game. So not a full Animal Crossing game. You just design houses. So, I mean, that's one of the more popular parts of Animal Crossing. I've never played them, but that's one of the more popular aspects of it. But I think people also want the whole thing, right? Like, they want the whole experience. And also there's that Animal Crossing game for the Wii U, which is like a board game? I was thinking Mario Party, but they didn't show any mini-games happening. It was just them landing on a space and it being like, oh, well, Mr. Duck Guy sprained his ankle, get 1,000 gold, or something like that. Man, it's Amiibo. It's a fucking Amiibo thing. And I don't care about Amiibos. I don't care. Also, they're putting Amiibos in Skylanders. Yay, great. I don't care. I have no interest in that shit. I'm not getting on board with that, especially because when it comes to Amiibo stuff, Nintendo sucks. They produce limited quantities to spike up demand. It's terrible. So nothing really on that front. Mario Paper Jam, which is them combining their Paper Mario and 3D Mario worlds into some RPG on the handheld. That seems like actually a really cool idea. I've never played the Mario RPG games or the Paper Mario games at all, but even I can identify that as like a cool idea. It's really cool that you combine those worlds. So yeah, good on you. Yoshi's Woolly World, they had a presentation where a developer talked about how she came up with the idea and how it was she just made these cute little dolls to start, and then the team really liked them and they made a game off it, and that was really sweet and cute, but at the same time, those developer stories were kind of really redundant. I'm not against them in their entirety, but maybe cut time down on them a bit. And the fact that they got into this pattern where they would show a trailer with gameplay in it, and you're like, all right, cool, sure, game, great. And then they would do the developer story where they would keep cutting to and showing the same exact gameplay footage they just showed. It makes it redundant. So maybe if you want to have the developer stuff, then maybe could you cut some footage in there we hadn't seen before? That'd be pretty neat. But yeah. Also, Metroid on the handhelds, which apparently people are not happy about. That you're not playing as Samus, you're playing as like these generic soldiers, and it's a focus on co-op. But hey, you know what they showed? It looked like a Metroid Prime game, and I've actually never played a Metroid game. God, I suck when it comes to the Nintendo franchises. But what they showed seemed fine. Again, nothing in that conference at all was super exciting. Nothing was exciting, nothing was offensive. Just middle of the road, no real pulse, just fine. I walked away feeling the same way I did when I sat down. Kind of complete indifference. So that's why Nintendo's in the middle, because nothing all that great. Oh, and they showed Super Mario Maker, but they've shown that before in the past. So I guess they showed a little more, but we know that's coming. That's been around since, last E3? So, yeah, come out with it. It seems cool. I'll play it, probably. But, nothing all that exciting from Nintendo. So, middle-of-the-road conference overall. After Nintendo, at number 4 of the 8 was Ubisoft. And they're kind of weird to talk about, because I can kind of divide their conference in half. Anytime they showed games, they nailed it. All their games looked great. Basically, it was all Tom Clancy stuff. But all of that stuff looked really cool, really fun, exciting. I can't wait to get my hands on them. The other half is whenever people on stage had to talk. That is continuously painful every year. My thoughts about Aisha Tyler are well documented at this point. I'll say this about her. She wasn't nearly as cringeworthy or anger-inducing as she's been previously. So, improvement? I mean, she's not good. She still is not good. Whenever she flubs lines and then does awkward jokes to try and make up for it, and then the audience laughs. Why are you laughing? Stop! You're encouraging her. What are you doing? And she had that really awkward thing where she sat next to a guy in the audience who was dressed as the guy from Assassin's Creed, the new one, and it was just the worst. It was the most awkward thing in the world. You can't force a meme, Aisha. All right, you got to just let it happen. It's not how it works. So whenever she had to talk, which was a lot, she was on stage most of the time. That was painful. That was incredibly painful. Not as painful. It's basically this year was like slamming your head repeatedly into a desk. Whereas previous years were like taking a chainsaw to your face. All right? Not nearly as bad, and you're going to recover from one of them, but not good either. It wasn't pleasant. But when they showed games, man, the fact that they started out, another South Park game is coming. Holy fucking shit. I didn't expect that. Stick of Truth was in development hell for so long, and then somehow got through all that and turned out to be fucking amazing. I was expecting a one-off. I think Matt and Trey might have said that they were done making South Park game. They were done. They killed themselves making Stick of Truth. And now they're making another one! Holy shit! And it focuses on superheroes this time. Cannot wait. That is cool. That is awesome. And then after that, they had a new game, For Honor, which they showed a trailer, and I was like, what is this? Is it Chivalry, but for consoles? What is this? And then they showed gameplay, and you know what? Fucking impressive. The fact that they had these massive groups of armies running at each other with, no seeming dips in frame rate. Granted, most of them are AI guys, but still, all these moving parts, and you're just in the middle of this chaos, and you can attack the AI guys, but then you get into a fight with a real human, and there's, this duel mechanic where you're both picking your spots and having to block and carefully align your sword. It's really fucking cool. Granted, I feel like that could, if you're like a really good player and you're facing another really good player, that could kind of get redundant. You're just standing there for 5 minutes I'll block and swing. Oh, he blocked. Motherfuckers, swing. God damn it. I feel like that might get redundant and old at a point and repetitive, but on its face, fucking cool. So I'm on board. In terms of games, Ubisoft, you had it. Then there was some expansions for the Crew and Trials. Didn't show anything, didn't talk about anything, just people still play the Crew. What? That's a surprise. That's the biggest announcement of E3. People still play the Crew. So whatever on that. Trials Fusion, they showed a cat riding a unicorn. All right. I haven't touched Trials Fusion at all since its launch week, because there's no multiplayer. So, yeah. Nothing really all that exciting there. Nothing offensive, nothing exciting. Then they showed The Division, that demo, and they do the thing that Ubisoft always does, where if it's a co-op game or a multiplayer game, they kind of fake do team dialogue. Where it's like, watch out for that guy. I think he's got a lot of loot. Oh man, we could totally flank him right now. Like, no one actually communicates like that. It's clearly scripted, and yeah, it's... But you know what? There's actually a certain charm to it. I remember when Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow was getting multiplayer trailers, they had that type of banter in their trailer. And I have a nostalgic reverence for that stuff, so I kind of like it. And then at the end, that fucker Brian, the fact that he shot his teammates and betrayed them and took all their shit, what a dick! What an asshole! I expect him to he's basically Brett. That's what I'm trying to say. Essentially, Brian is Brett, and you can expect that in the Division when it comes out later. Space city building game, Arna, I don't know anything about, or whatever however you pronounce that. I got nothing. Then, you know how I said the conference split into two halves? So in the awkward, why is this here section, having Jason Derulo come on and do a concert. Why? Why was he there? Why? I get it. Look, Just Dance, for some reason, it sells like gangbusters for Ubisoft. People love it. Little kids and soccer moms eat up Just Dance, even though it's a terrible game. Okay? So fine. You want to talk about it. That's great. But every year, they think we want to see people dancing on stage. We know what Just Dance is. We get how it works. It's in the fucking title. Just let it go. Announce it. Move the fuck on. Show a trailer or something. Move the fuck on. So the fact that this year they announced, hey, Just Dance, you're going to be able to control it with your phone, so you can do Just Dance anywhere. Let's get Jason Derulo on stage. And then he comes out and starts dancing and gets dancers behind him. They're all dancing, singing and dancing really poorly. It's really awkward. And they're not holding phones. They're not standing in front of a Kinect. They're not doing any type of gameplay stuff. They're just fucking dancing. Why? We know what Just Dance is. We understand the concept. It's like Guitar Hero, but dancing. Got it. Move on. It was just incredibly fucking awkward. Ridiculously awkward. So that was a blemish and made me facepalm pretty hard. But then they did Rainbow Six Siege, which thankfully, when they've shown Rainbow Six Siege, they've always focused on the PvP stuff. And that looks fine. I'm worried about how long it'll be cool based on the number of maps. It kind of needs a lot of maps. But I was always worried because that's what they showed. That's what they focused on. And I was like, oh, you know what? They need a co-op thing. They need to bring back Terrorist Hunt. And thankfully they did. They announced that they are bringing back Terrorist Hunt. For some reason, they are calling it Tarot Hunt, which, why? Why? But fine, Tarot Hunt. And what they showed, hey, it's cool. It looks cool. It looked like, they said it was like a live gameplay thing, that stuff was going to happen as it happened on... And you know what? Looked really cool. I look forward to playing that. So, good job on that. Trackmania is coming to consoles, or just PS4, I forget. But that's coming. Trackmania has kind of lost its way over the years. People lost interest, but it's cool. It's a cool thing, so I'm alright to have it. I played a little bit on the PC. I'm excited to see it, as long as the tracks are ridiculous, which, by all accounts, they're going to be. Then, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, they just showed a trailer. Why? Aren't you supposed to show gameplay? I can understand showing trailers at other conferences. I get it. Show gameplay. You didn't. So, pointless. Like, redundant. Yeah, we know it exists. It's your biggest franchise. Don't fuck it up. How about you don't make it a broken mess? Maybe make sure it works before he walks out the door. How about that'd be cool? And then they ended with a surprise reveal, which Ubisoft has kind of become known for at E3 over the years, where they have some type of crazy reveal at the end. And they were playing it, and they were showing the gameplay and a trailer, and I was talking with everyone on Skype, and I was like, this looks... they're sneaking around. Is this Ghost Recon? Sure enough, Ghost Recon, Wildlands. And looks really cool. Giant, massive open world. That reminds me of Arma, actually. So it's like a more action-packed Arma with Ghost Recon gameplay. That's fucking cool. Yeah, I'm on board. So that was a cool way to end it. So, yeah, in terms of games, they actually showed some pretty cool stuff. And whenever they had games showed or demos, they looked great. I love Ubisoft's games, except last year. Last year they fucked up a lot, but I love their games as a whole. I love Tom Clancy stuff. But it's when people talked, it's when Jason Derulo came out and danced that you're losing momentum, and you're losing my interest, and you're just getting on my nerves. So pull back more on that stuff. Put in like 1 or 2 more games next year, please. That would make you even better. So their conference was pretty okay. It was pretty okay overall. It was better than EA, Square, and PC by a mile. But yeah, pretty all right. At this point, we have 3 conferences left, and the 3 that are left, people have basically, depending on their personal opinion, have been interchanging them between the first, second, and third best. They just keep swapping them around, and anyone you ask is going to have a different opinion, and that's indicative of their quality, I think. But in my opinion, the third conference, 3rd out of 8, the one that did pretty good, but isn't quite in the top 2, Bethesda, which some people are going to call foul on, I'm sure. But I think you're just blinded by the last 20, 25 minutes, and I completely understand why, because it was a freaking awesome last 20, 30 minutes. But you gotta look at the conference as a whole. So to me, they started off with Doom. And you know, dude, it looks brutal, it looks intense, it looks cool, it looks over the top and dumb and fun and gory and great. Can't wait. I love the demo. Looks like a lot of fun. Then he's talked about multiplayer stuff. Sure, why not? Not what I come to Doom for, but some people love the Doom multiplayer. They have nostalgic feelings about it. Sure, why not? The biggest surprise, I think, for Doom was the snap map thing, where they're basically putting Forge from Halo into Doom. And that is fantastic. More games need that. The map editor looked really simple and easy to use, at least from laying out the level. All the programming stuff and programming items and AI and triggers and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to actually try and create anything, but I can't wait to start downloading stuff. That's going to be incredible. That'll add so much needed longevity to that game. After the single player gets old, which I'm sure it will, how many people can you chop in half before you're like, all right, seeing it? Great. That is a great idea, and I welcome it. Then they showed another level from the Doom single player, and at that point I thought it was getting long in the tooth. They were showing too much, because they just said, oh, look, this is where the demons are from, this is where they call home, so it was a level from hell. But the gameplay didn't change, and it kept going, and you used the same guns for the most part, and it went on a little too long. I understand people want to see Doom, and I understand that, but I think you got your message across with the first. You didn't have to show an entire another level, but that's just me, so... But still, I'm looking forward to Doom. Doom looks really cool. So the thing is that most people will then be like, look, Fallout 4, but there was all that stuff in between that you gotta remember. So they announced Bethesda Net, which I guess is like interconnected. All your games are on this site, and mad. Okay, sure, whatever. I'm sure it'll be useful, but okay. Battlecry, which I don't know what the hell that game is. Looked like some type of 5v5 multiplayer melee combat thing, but the melee combat seemed like really stiff and stilted. It looked like MMO combat. You know how you get locked into a fight and you hit your hotkeys and do your build? That's what it looked like. And I don't think that looks all that exciting. So that was kind of a dud for me. Elder Scrolls Online, great. I don't care about Elder Scrolls Online. All I heard was that it was incredibly mediocre and not worth playing. So I didn't. And yeah, so getting more content for that, sure, if you like Elder Scrolls Online, good for you, but nothing there. And then they announced the Elder Scrolls Legends card game, which is Hearthstone, but Elder Scrolls. Seems pointless. I mean, Hearthstone is successful, so there's gonna be clones, people are gonna make it, but just nothing. Like, they didn't even show anything, it was just a trailer, so I don't know how it works, I don't know what it looks like. It's gotta be a card game. Great. Yeah. Nothing all that exciting. Then the real meat started. Then Fallout 4. Fallout motherfucking 4! Yes! I can't wait. Before the Bethesda stream, I actually streamed 7+ hours of Fallout 3, so I knew the differences very well, because I had them fresh in my mind. Looks gorgeous. The character crafting stuff with the face molding. I don't know if I'll use it, because I'm really bad at making characters that look good, so I kind of stick with the default guy. But that looks really cool. The combat, they've improved VATS. So I was expecting that type of stuff, just improvements and refinements. But then they talked about the stuff they added. You can make a base, you can create your own shelter and have people move there and have merchants move there, and you got to set up defenses to protect it from bandits, so there's like a tower defense kind of element, it looks like. And there's all the customization, you can make your armor look different, you can make your weapons look different, all type of different mods, and it just all looks really cool. I was not expecting to get that much out of it. Holy shit. And you know what? I don't care about collector's editions, and I'm not going to buy this one either, because why? And I'm also all digital these days, but that Pip-Boy thing, that looks really cool. That's a really cool collector's edition. That's thing you can wear, the Pip-Boy you can wear and put your phone in, looks really neat. And they had Fallout Shelter, which also, like, nice little surprise, and the fact that it was available right after the conference, really cool. It didn't really work on my iPad. I have an iPad 2, and I think the OS is old, so it kept crashing. So I haven't really tried it since then. But by all accounts, people are having a lot of fun with it. It was a nice bonus to everything else. But Fallout 4, holy shit, it blew me away. I cannot fucking wait. And it's this year! It's in November! There's so much stuff coming out this holiday that is going to drive me insane. My wallet, my poor wallet. The Bethesda conference had incredible high points. It started pretty strong, and it ended incredibly strong. But the middle part wasn't all that exciting. The middle part was just, like, they had to include stuff because it's their properties, but nothing about the middle captured my attention at all. So everyone's saying Bethesda knocked it out of the park, knocked it out of the park. They knocked it out of the park at the end. They hit it in the stands in the beginning, and in the middle, it was just a lot of ground balls. Like, it wasn't baseball analogies, right? It wasn't all that exciting in the middle. So, as a whole, really good first attempts. Really good first conference you put on. You did good things. But you got to remember that the middle was still there, and it wasn't all that exciting. So, they're the third best conference in my mind. Moving on to the final two. Now, the last two that are left, if you've been keeping score, are Sony and Microsoft. And between the two, I can actually understand interchanging them easily. I have my own opinion about which is second best and which is the best, but if you wanted to come to me and tell me I'm wrong and you think the opposite and reverse 2 and 1, I actually completely understand, and I'm not going to fight you on that. I have multiple friends who think that Sony did best, and I have multiple friends that think Microsoft did best. And I think either answer is correct depending on which company you prefer or what games you saw, what gets you more intrigued. But for me personally, between the two of them, I think the second best conference of the 8 was Microsoft. And that might sound odd because I play Microsoft games primarily. My Xbox One is my primary gaming system. It's where I buy multi-platform games. It's where my friends are. So you might think I would say they're the best of the best, but I kind of can't, and that's because of what Sony showed. But first, let's start with Microsoft. Microsoft had a ton. They nailed it. They had a fantastic press conference, and I don't really think they could have done much better. The one criticism I have for it is they showed a lot of trailers and not gameplay. So they announced a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was shown at their conference, yeah. But a lot of it was just trailers or concepts. It wasn't a full demo. They had some. They had some demos, and the demos were cool. But it wasn't, Sony had more actual gameplay. But I'll get to Sony in a bit. So they started off with Halo 5, and you know what? It looks like Halo. I'm going to play it, but it's not all that exciting to me anymore. I know what Halo looks like, and it looks like more of that. So, moving on. They announced ReCore, but that was just a trailer. It wasn't actual gameplay of anything. And so I don't know what the hell's going on. There's a robot dog, and you can put its essence into a giant robot. Cool, but I don't know what it is. The big thing, the first holy shit moment, is when they announced that Xbox One is getting backwards compatibility for 360 games, which nobody expected. They're just going to update the system to work with 360 games. Not all of them out of the gate. It's not like a blanket thing, but in the fall, over 100 games are going to be backwards compatible, and then they're going to keep updating the list. And what I really liked is if you owned the game digitally on 360, and it's on the compatibility list, which I'm assuming it will be. I'm hoping that they add the entire library at a point. and not abandon it. Remember they did this with the 360. They had original Xbox games compatible, but then they just said, fuck it, not worth doing, and gave up. I really hope they don't do that. They can't. It would be really shitty of them to do that twice. But if you own the game digitally on the 360, it just appears in your Xbox One install list. So you scroll all the way to the right, and it's there, mixed with all your One games. So you can just download it. And if you own the disc, you can just pop your 360 disc in the One, and it will recognize it and download a digital copy for you. And you don't have to pay anything, completely free. Which was kind of a knock at Sony. The fact that you can, if you already own the game, you put it in, you download a version, you're playing it. Done. Whereas Sony makes you pay to play old games using their PlayStation Now service. So that was kind of a win for Xbox. Really hope they actually support it, but right now, just announcing it, holy shit, really cool. Also, Fallout 4 came back on stage, and they showed some more gameplay, showed some of the shooting and using a power suit, and that looks all really cool. But the big thing was Fallout 4 on the One. I don't know if it's going to be on the PS4 eventually, but at least for now, on the One, you'll be able to play mods that people make on the PC on the Xbox One version of Fallout 4. And that's that's awesome. I never thought we'd see mods on consoles, besides like stuff that developer intentionally put in themselves. But the fact that if mods are made on the PC, you just use, I guess you use BethesdaNet, you can just put them in the Xbox One version, and that's awesome. That's going to make things run rampant. People are going to be breaking that game always from Sunday, but still, great addition. Unexpected, fantastic. Then EA came out, kind of dud. EA Access. It's free for gold this week, and we added Titanfall. I don't care. I own Titanfall. I don't need to play it. I don't want to play easy. I don't want EA Access. I don't care. I don't fucking care. So, whatever. They announced Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 here, but it was just a trailer. The big thing was at EA's, so whatever to that. Hey, check it out. Forza exists. Cars still look pretty. Did you know that? Cars are pretty. So, I like Forza just fine, but I'm kind of done with the series at this point. They showed a trailer for Dark Souls 3, which I think was leaked ahead of time. I want to say that wasn't a surprise, but still, it's kind of nice to know another Dark Souls is coming. I am a bit worried about series fatigue, because now we have Bloodborne, and so Dark Souls, then Bloodborne comes out, then Dark Souls 3, then Bloodborne 2. Like, that might cause the series to get really old. But still, sure, I'll play another one of those, absolutely. Rainbow Six Siege was briefly shown, but the main announcement was that Rainbow Six Siege on the Xbox One will come with Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2. And that is really, really cool, because those games are great, and I will play the multiplayer, provided it works, which it should. That's a nice bonus. That is a really nice bonus to throw in there. Granted, you could probably get those games used for $5 each now, but it's a nice bonus to throw in with Siege. I do very much appreciate the gesture. Showed some indie games. Nothing really grabbed me. I mean, Cuphead looks cool, but I'd seen Cuphead before, which is that game that looks like a 1930s Mickey cartoon. It looks really cool, but I've seen it. That's been around before. So, meh. They announced Xbox Game Preview, which is basically early access coming to Xbox One, which immediately made me worried that could be a really bad thing. On Steam, there are some early access games that are really good, and you pay for them and you have fun, and they seem fully featured, and they just add more over time. But there is a lot of garbage. There is a lot of indie developers, who will just put absolute garbage, ask money for it, and then never update it. So I was really worried that then the Xbox One would just become rampant with shit. But I think they redeemed it, because they announced right there on the conference that any early access game, any of these preview games, will have a trial available, all of them. So you can try it before investing your money, which is perfect. That is such a good decision that it makes up for the fact that early access is there at all. It's a great thing. And it's a thing that a lot of people, I'm watching a lot of opinion pieces, they all seem to have missed that, because no one is mentioning it. But still, really nice gesture. There's 2 games right now that are available on the Xbox One. I downloaded them. I downloaded the free trials. Haven't tried them yet to see what that is, but still, really cool. The fact that there's trials makes it okay. Without them, I'd be like, ugh. But with trials, it makes it okay. What is next? They showed gameplay of Tomb Raider, and check it out. Looks like Tomb Raider. constant, exciting, like, oh my god, she has to jump for that ledge. Is she gonna make it? She did. Oh, that was close. Oh my god, she's jumping. Is she gonna make it this time? Oh, of course she did. It looks like Tomb Raider. I liked the reboot just fine. I didn't think it was the best thing ever, like so many people did. I think it had very noticeable flaws that a lot of people seem to ignore. But I'll play a second one. So yeah, sure, I'll play a second one of those. One of the big holy shit announcements was Rare, man. So they're making the Rare Replay Collection, which is 30 Rare games for $30 on the Xbox One. That is a deal. It's old games from like the NES, Battletoads and shit, and it's newer games on the 360 like Nuts and Bolts, all the Banjo-Kazooies, Perfect Dark 1 and Perfect Dark 0. That is a great collection at a great price. It is a shame that some stuff isn't going to be there. Like, obviously, the Donkey Kong games from the SNES, they're not in that collection. GoldenEye isn't in that collection because that's all licensing stuff. You can't expect it to be there. It'd be great, but there's no way in hell. But still, it was really nice. It was nice to see Rare come up and not be talking about fucking Kinect games, because Microsoft has had them on a strict leash for so long now that it was really refreshing and exciting to see that they were going to be getting their games out there again. I was like, yeah, that's great. That's so great. That's a really great price, really generous collection. Thank you, Microsoft. And then they said Rare is making a new game, and they showed it, and it's called Sea of Thieves. Open world, multiplayer, adventure, pirate game. Fucking yes, finally! Finally, Rare is allowed to make an original game that's not a Kinect sports thing. Praise you, Microsoft. Praise the Lord. It's so nice. Oh, it's great. Oh, Rare, welcome back. Welcome back, buddy. We've missed you. It's been so long. So after that, they did a trailer for Fable Legends. I don't care about Fable Legends, so moving on. They briefly mentioned Oculus Rift, which I think was covered at an Oculus Rift press conference that happened before E3, where they're like partnering with one, and you can stream Xbox One games to your Oculus Rift using Windows 10. I think that's the whole thing with that, but I don't own an Oculus Rift, and so I don't really care. But the thing they showed after the Oculus Rift, that HoloLens, wow, holy crap. Look, I had known about HoloLens, but I hadn't actually bothered to go see it in action. I hadn't looked up anything, hadn't watched any demonstrations. That Minecraft demonstration blew me away. That was so cool. And if it works like that, if it works half as good as that when it's retail and available, holy shit. Now, I will point out that my initial excitement kind of went down a bit when I thought about it more after the fact. I don't know if that'll have a lot of gameplay implications, because realistically, what he was doing on stage was watching someone else run around and play Minecraft. Like, he could look in, and it was really amazing to build an entire world and have it be on a table, like, instantly. Just it formed, and you could move around, pinch and scroll, and zoom in, and all that stuff was really, really cool. But he wasn't actually playing the game at all. Like, he called in lightning strikes and could help the other player by looking around. So that kind of seems more like a demonstration thing for your friends, or if you're a parent, you can, like watch your kid play Minecraft or vice versa. The kids will fucking think that shit is amazing. I think it's amazing, but in terms of actual gameplay use, not sure about its implications. But as a piece of technology, that thing is mind-blowing, and I need one now. I need them to take all of my money. And then they kind of ended with a bit of a dud. They showed Gears of War Remaster, or at least they confirmed it. That had been leaked a while ago. Cool. Sure. I don't know if I care, but whatever. And then they showed Gears of War 4, which, hey, check it out. Looks like Gears of War. It looks exactly like one of those games, but prettier. Though the demo they showed was really underwhelming. They barely did anything. They walked forward and maybe shot 2 things. But other than that, it was more of a moody, atmospheric type of thing, which is not what I come to Gears for. So, I don't know, that demo kind of didn't really do anything for me, personally. But regardless, good to know another one of those is coming. I'll play another Gears. But yeah, Microsoft, they fucking nailed it. As the first conference, well, I mean, Bethesda was the first, but as the opening conference on Monday, Microsoft fucking did a fantastic job. They really, really set expectations for the other conferences, which EA and Ubisoft did not meet, but Sony, man, they put their money where their mouth is, and Microsoft was the top of the top. I was like, you can't outdo it. There's no fucking way anyone's going to outdo Microsoft. Holy shit. They nailed it. And then, number one, the best conference of the show, Sony wins. Sony wins, and if anyone tells you otherwise, they're crazy. I'm willing to hear their arguments, but my God, it was like the exact opposite of the PC gaming one. Like, you know how I said before, the PC and the Square Enix conferences were all about telling and telling and telling and not showing. Sony was show. They just games, and it was fantastic. And the games they showed and announced, I can't believe some of them exist. How did they do it? They made dreams come true, man. What the hell? So they opened with Last Guardian, which at this point has been rumored, and people have said it's canceled. People are like, no, it's alive, it's canceled. No, I swear it's still happening. It's been like a running gag. It was becoming the new Duke Nukem Forever. Like, it's never coming out. They're never going to show it. And they showed it, and it looked beautiful, and it ran, and oh my God, it's coming out next year. I'll believe that when I see it, but still, Last Guardian started with a showstopper. That was fantastic. It looked great. Yeah, I can't wait to play it. I love Shadow of the Colossus. Never played Eco, whatever. But that looks so good, and I can't wait. It's nice to see it. It's nice that it's alive. That's so good. Then an original game that no one had ever heard of, Horizon Zero Dawn. Some type of weird, takes place in the future, and humanity got like mostly wiped out by the machines, which are now like they're animals, they're robot dinosaurs and deer and stuff running around, which is weird. But they had this beautiful demo where this girl hunter was running around shooting at the robot animals, and then got in this massive fight, and she tethered him to the ground and stabbed spears into him, and it looked really cool. I don't know what that game is, but I want it now. It was nice to see. They started off with an anticipated thing, and then right into a kick-ass new IP, and good. Oh, Sony starting strong, starting real strong. They showed a trailer for Hitman, which Square Enix then showed gameplay of during their trailer, but during their conference, rather. But the trailer was pretty good. The trailer got me excited. I was like, oh, good, a new Hitman. Yeah, I can't wait. And then Square Enix actually showed me gameplay and got me really excited. But it was nice to know that it existed, at least. Street Fighter V, I don't care about, personally. They kind of just showed some fights, and maybe they announced some characters in there. I wasn't paying attention because I don't care. But, alright, if you like fighting games, that's a thing. And that's exclusive to PS4. Let's see. No Man's Sky. The guy came out and showed No Man's Sky. And, nothing really, I mean, kind of new stuff. The fact that he, like, zoomed out and was like, alright, keep in mind, all of the stars that you're going to see are solar systems with multiple planets and their own life and their own universe. And then he kept zooming and zooming and zooming and zoomed so far out. You're like, no way. It's incredibly impressive and ambitious, and I look forward to it. At least he got out of his ship and he actually shot a gun, destroyed some geometry, and was being chased by some stuff, and that was all cool. Went underwater really briefly. I still am not entirely sure what the end game is. Are you really just exploring? You land on a planet and you walk around and that's the end of it? Like, can you build bases? Like, is there an objective? I don't know, but it does continue to look really cool and really ambitious, and I do look forward to seeing what the hell that turns out to be. Then, what was it? Dreams, which is that weird, like, painting, you make your own puppet thing, and that was kind of horrifying. Like, the style was just gross to me, but still it looked neat. It looked like a cool way to unleash creativity. I would never be able to use it because I'm not a creative person in that way. I'm not an artiste, so I would just make, like, giant blobs. I'd basically make Clay Fighter. That's what I would make. But sure, why not? Whimsy and magic and stuff. Cool, why not? Firewatch they showed a little bit of, which looks neat. They didn't really show a lot of it, but looks like some type of, you're a ranger and you're trying to solve a mystery, or you're trying to survive, or both. I'm not sure, but at least it was intriguing for the small bit they showed. Hey, Destiny expansion. Moving on. World of Final Fantasy. Chibi Final Fantasy. Cutesy Final Fantasy. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Not my. I don't really care about Final Fantasy. really, at all anymore. I think the last one I tried to play was 13, and I fell asleep an hour in, so I never played that again. But alright, chibi, family-friendly Final Fantasy, why not? But then, speaking of Final Fantasy, they did something I never expected. Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's happening, bitches. I never played the original Final Fantasy VII. I never did. I just haven't. Passed me by. I didn't play it. All right. I'm not a real gamer. Craig, get off the stage. You don't know what you're talking about. You suck. Yes, I know. I never played Final Fantasy VII. But the fact that the remake excites me. One, because sure, why not? I'll play it. But two, is that because ever since that original PS3 tech demo, for 10 years, they have been saying, we're not doing it. Stop asking. It's too expensive. We'd never make our money back. Stop asking. We're not doing the remake. We're not doing the remake. Fucking stop asking. You piece of shit. You entitled motherfuckers. Stop it. And then, what did Square Enix do last year? What conference was it at? Shit, I'm sorry, I don't remember. But where Square Enix came on stage, the Kingdom Hearts 3 guy came on stage. Fucking troll. And was like, hey guys, Final Fantasy VII. And the audience went, what? It's happening. And then he went, we're releasing it on the PC. The original, just a port. And everyone deflated and hated them. And that was the worst thing ever. So after that, after being that stupid and not knowing your audience that well, we all expected the Final Fantasy VII Remake was never going to happen. It was just a joke. Nope, real, happening, holy shit. Did not expect that. Good on you, Sony or Square or whoever. I don't know, but damn, that was a bomb drop. So yeah, holy shit. And then right after that, Shenmue 3. Granted, Sony isn't actually developing it, but they got the Kickstarter for Shenmue 3 because it's on Kickstarter, already funded. They asked for $2 million. It was funded in 24 hours. But the fact that they addressed it like, hey, you know this other franchise that people have been clamoring for the third one in for like, what is it, like 14 years, 12? When did Shenmue 2 come out? I don't know. It's been a long fucking time. I never play those games, but I know the legacy of them, that everyone's been clamoring for Shenmue 3 because Shenmue 2 apparently ended on a cliffhanger, incomplete, and never gonna happen. The game industry said, it's never gonna happen, stop holding your breath, you're all stupid wishing for Shenmue. Well, guess what? Shenmue exists, Shenmue 3 is coming. Wow. I don't know if I'll ever play it, because I'm pretty sure if I don't play the first two, I'll never understand what's going on, and I think those games are considered boring nowadays. Like, you drive forklifts, I know that, but so Shenmue. And they showed, I don't know if it was just a trailer or if it was in-engine, but they showed Batman stuff, which was like a police officer sitting in a diner, and then shit started freaking out, and Scarecrow, and Fear, and all that stuff. And I think I missed it, but I guess that means that there are Scarecrow missions exclusive to PS4? And if that's the case, that actually kind of sucks? Because why? The Scarecrow stuff is cool. Why would you lock that out? You know that everyone wants that. Assholes. I hate those practices. If that's the case, I might have missed it, but that is shitty if that is indeed the case. And then, unexpectedly, not really unexpected, but surprisingly, I remember I watched the Microsoft conference, and I thought that was really cool, and then I was talking to my friends before the Sony one started, and I was like, wait, Microsoft didn't have Call of Duty. They always have. For like the last 7 years, they've had Call of Duty. What? Does that mean Sony got it? Yep, sure enough, Sony got the exclusive first rights to like map packs and stuff and got the demo on their stage. And that looked like Call of Duty. 4-player co-op in the campaign is cool. The little multiplayer montage they made looks like Call of Duty with Titanfall. They got more Titanfall on my Call of Duty. Sure, I'll probably play them because I'll probably play Call of Duty because I always play them no matter what I say, no matter what my feelings are. I always end up buying it and playing it. So I'll probably play it. But hey, you know what? I think Black Ops 3 actually looks pretty cool. It looks better than the last two. So, yeah. But it was surprising that Sony actually got that, that timed exclusivity for, like, map packs and stuff. Whereas Microsoft has had that locked down for years. It kind of was representative of the tides and how they're changing. But still. Then they showed another bit of Star Wars Battlefront. It wasn't the same. Thankfully, they didn't just show the same fucking gameplay demo. It would have been cool to see twice in that case. But they showed a brand new level, Horde mode, wave-based survival against the Empire. Yeah, Great. I love me co-op. I love variety. Give me variety. We got co-op modes. We got multiplayer. I don't think there's any type of story in there, but still, I look forward to Battlefront, and it was really nice to see more of Battlefront, so yay, good for you. And then they ended with Uncharted. Now, they kind of fumbled the ball a little bit with really the one major technical flub of all of these conferences, which was that they started the demo, and I guess the story is they forgot to pair a controller to the console they were playing on. So when they started the demo, Nathan Drake was just standing in the market, and standing there, and not doing anything. And it was really awkward for like 20 seconds. And then I think they switched. They either restarted the demo and they played it, or they switched to a backup video. Because, I mean, it's up in the air. I don't think people know for sure. But, yeah, just a small flub. A little awkward. But still, that demo was really cool. Driving through. A lot of destructibility. Like, shocking amounts of particles and pieces of wood and furniture and stands and boxes just flying around, and that was really impressive. It looked great. It looked like more Uncharted, but it looked, holy shit, really good. I love Uncharted. 2 is probably one of my best games of all time, or favorite games of all time, rather. But yeah, good time. It was a good way to end it. It was a solid way to end their conference. Their conference, which was full of just holy shit announcements, tons of game demos, tons of, like, unexpected dreams coming true. People who have been waiting 10, 15 years for some stuff, just, hey, here it is. Surprise. Hope you enjoy. So Sony had a lot more excitement and constant wow factor. Microsoft maintained their momentum and did a good job and always had, like, a level of good. But Sony, skyrocketed above that a lot. They mentioned TV a little bit, but after how much they had announced, they could have really talked about whatever the fuck they wanted. They could have said, hey, we're making a PlayStation toilet. And everyone would have been like, yeah, let's fucking love it. I can't wait. It was so good. They announced so much stuff, so much goodwill. I can't wait. I can't wait for all this stuff. It has been one hell of an E3 with the announcements and the games they've shown. It's going to be a good year for the holiday is going to be packed. I don't know where all the money is going to come from. I need more YouTube money. And those are my opinions on the E3 conferences from worst to best. So what are yours? Do you agree with my list? Would you change it around a little bit? Do you think Sony was overrated? Do you think the PC gaming thing was actually one of the best conferences ever made? Regardless, let me know in the comments below. I always like reading the discussions that happen down there. And if you enjoyed this incredibly long commentary, then please leave a rating to let me know. It would be very much appreciated. Thanks for watching this. Thanks to anyone again who decided to hang out with me during the E3 conference streams. And I'll see you all later. Bye!